talking about First Peter. We're going to be in First Peter for a hot minute, and we've been in First Peter for a hot minute, and I don't mind being in First Peter for a hot minute because it's great. So we're going to be talking about First Peter chapter 1, verses 17 through 19. I'll start off, read all of them together, and then I'll go back to verse 17. So verse 17 says, "And if you call on him as Father who judges impartially according to each one's deeds, conduct yourselves with fear throughout the time of your exile, knowing that you are ransomed from the futile ways inherited from your forefathers, not with perishable things such as silver or gold, but with the precious blood of Christ, like that of a lamb without blemish or spot." Pretty dope, if you ask me. Verse 17 is saying, "And if you call on him as Father who judges impartially according to each one's deeds." So if we acknowledge as Christians God's ability to be the perfect judge, is what they're saying. If we acknowledge his ability to be a perfect judge, then this should reinforce our desire to obey him, because we know that since he is going to be there to judge us in our worst, we like to have joy, especially when we think we're doing good in our faith. We like to have joy when we're thinking that we're at the top of the roller coaster, when we're at the peak of our faith, which is, we should not have a peak of our faith. That should be the end of our life, or in heaven, I don't know. But when we have lower seasons, we like to think that we're doing worse. We're doing worse in our faith, that God doesn't like us as much. But God, no, he's the perfect judge. So he says, conduct yourselves with fear throughout the time of your exile. Since he's the perfect judge, he's going to be impartial. He's going to be impartial at the time when you're lower in your faith, when you're higher in faith. That might change in your prayer life, however, so it's important to know that. There will be times where he is less, he's less active to answer. He's listening, but he might be less active to answer. But when you're more faithful, he'll be more active to answer. But what this is saying, if you don't listen to anything I just said, is God is the perfect judge. And because he was the perfect judge, he sent his son, who was the perfect sacrifice, the perfect price to be paid. Our forefathers, Adam and Eve, everybody after them, all sinful. No one is perfect. We can't do anything to be perfect. We can strive to be like God, but we are never going to be God, and I'm thankful for that. So when we are trying to be like him, we're going to fail. And Christ knew that, and God knew that. So sending his son to pay that perfect price. And it was saying that this is the not paid by things such as silver or gold. And I want to make a stark contrast really quick. Silver and gold, you may think of the opposite of silver and gold as, I don't know, like something like trash, like a trash bag. But no, Christ is actually, this is my thinking. I like to think of Christ as the opposite of silver and gold, in that he makes silver and gold trash. He is the perfect sacrifice, but he makes silver and gold seem nothing. We like to place earthly value on it, but no, he makes silver and gold seem nothing. And it is nothing when you think about it in terms of eternity. So don't compare Christ to trash ever. No. He makes everything else seem nothing, because it is nothing. And so now that the price has been paid, we need to know how truly valuable that Christ's blood, which paid for that price, is, and what that means for our lives. And because his blood is perfect, imperishable, no blemish or spot, we can rejoice with joy because the price has been paid. We should live knowing that he paid the price. We shouldn't live for the world or live for the desires of the flesh. No, this is another quick summary of the gospel message. It's saying that because Christ is for us and not against us, and that he sacrificed himself for us, that we should live for him. Because what else is there to do? Is there just live here, live for ourselves? That's not what Christ calls us to do. We are to honor him because he sent his son to die for us. So live knowing that.